The Derby is everything. The Derby combines all aspects of, I think, what racing is, sport is, and what Americana is.
It's an experience that you cannot feel it in any other race.
The whole world knows where is Kentucky Derby.
It's a feeling of going to a college football game, you know, that excitement, and there's so much energy.
It's sort of everything that racing's about.
People that don't pay any attention to racing the rest of the year will watch the Kentucky Derby.
Everybody watches the Kentucky Derby. You know, they don't remember who wins the race, probably.
No, there certainly is no event in America that has the cachet, the history, the emotion, the feeling of the Kentucky Derby.
It's what you endeavor upon as soon as you figure out you want to do this.
I think all the trainers, every trainer, every owner want to win the race.
If somebody tells you they don't want to win the Derby, they're lying to you.
For anybody that grew up thinking about or entertaining the thought of being involved in racing, the Derby has to be in the forefront of your mind.
I think it's the greatest sporting event there is. I mean, it's just amazing. There's just so much beauty in it. I mean, you have the horses, the colors, I mean, the people. I mean, it's just probably the best sporting event to go to.
When I went to Churchill Downs and saw the Twin Spires and stood on the racetrack and stood where the gate is, and it was wow.
I know people that haven't got a clue about racing. But the two things they always seem to know, Kentucky Derby and Bill Shoemaker.
Anytime you mention Kentucky, people say, oh yeah, the Kentucky Derby.
I was sitting on the corner of the coffee table and Secretariat won it. And I was just with my grandmother at the time. I told my grandmother, so I'm gonna win that race one day.
That used to be the big thing in our house, that we'd all get together and watch the Kentucky Derby.
Spanish Chestnut breaking from post 13.
Was on the TV every year.
Go for Gin was the first one that I remember.
It's Go for Gin!
The best horse I ever saw run is Secretariat.
Coach my idol was Lafitte Pincay.
The first time I heard about the Kentucky Derby, I remember there was Lucky Debonair with Bill Shoemaker. When I became a jockey, that was my dream. Maybe someday it would be great just to ride in it.
I remember Shoemaker winning with Ferdinand, and you know, winning the race. Beautiful, beautiful. I remember exactly how it happened.
My first introduction was when my favorite horse of all time, Native Dancer, didn't win. That was my first, you know, that was the first time I understood what the Kentucky Derby really was.
Dark Star holds on and is whipped under the wire to win by a head over Native Dancer.
One of the ones I remember very well, there was a horse named Tommy Lee. Shoemaker was riding him. There was another horse named Sword Dancer, and they were coming down the stretch head and head, and they bumped right about the 16th pole. I think Shoemaker, if he were here today, would agree that that helped him win the Kentucky Derby.
Sword Dancer's in front, but Tommy Lee comes on again. And as they hit the wire, Tommy Lee wins by a nose.
Well, Gatto is my favorite. He's the one that I won my first Derby with. The Derby made him a great horse in my eyes, but he peaked at the right time for the Derby, and I'm glad he did.
In the final furlong, Gatto del Sol is in front.
The first Kentucky Derby that I called at Churchill Downs was Affirmed and Aladar. So, I mean, how can that not be my favorite? 1978, Affirmed and Aladar hook up, and they hit the top of the stretch, and here's Affirmed with Steve Coughlin in front. Here comes Aladar flying up on the outside, and it was just, and I'm sitting there calling it that. Probably after all these years, is still my favorite Derby because it was so special to me.
When you wake up on Derby Day, you know you're about to go work at the single most important sporting event in the world.
Standing on the backside, seeing the twin spires, you get it all. It just kind of sinks in, and you feel like, now I know why I'm here.
That morning, it's dark. You go out there, you want to take him and track him. You know, you get your last chance to see what he feels like, and you take him out there, and they come off the track, and you know, they're full of energy. You feel good about it.
Go out in the back, stand around, and, you know, watch everybody whispering to each other, there's a Derby horse, there's a Derby horse.
I think if you've had Derby fever before, being a part of the morning scene will definitely heighten that feeling and bring it to new levels.
You know you have to get up early Saturday morning to beat the crowd, to see the races.
I think if it was a school day, they'd declare a state holiday and the schools would be out.
The pomp and circumstance of the Derby is unbelievable because it's palpable. You can feel the excitement building as the day goes.
I've ridden horses on Derby Day that weren't involved in the Kentucky Derby, and they still, to today, have run the race of their life because of the crowd, because of the fanfare.
It was an amazing feeling. I mean, just walking over with all the people looking at you and all the horses and circling on the backside before they let you over with all the horses around you. I mean, it's really an amazing thing.
You go in the paddock, you saddle your horse, and then you got to fight your way to the, so it's quite an exciting feeling.
It looks like someone disturbed an ant pile. You know, there's just people everywhere.
The hordes of people lined up when you're walking just before you get to the track, and they're all screaming, yelling, go get him, Bob, and you've got goosebumps, and you're all like, you feel like you're going to battle, you know?
The time before the Derby is really special because you've got 20 horses, which means you've got 20 trainers, which means you've got, gosh only knows how many owners, but at that point in time, they've got a chance to win the Kentucky Derby.
It's one very intense day. I mean, this is hallowed ground. This is it.
It's just the electricity in the air when they come on the out onto the track is unbelievable.
Just walking, and you can see it both sides. It's just the crowd just lift, you know, just lift you, and just feel like you're in the air.
The roar of the crowd, there's no crowd that moves to those levels. Not in a Final Four, not in a Super Bowl, there's nothing like it. I've been to those places, and when that last horse enters the starting gate, the roar of the crowd will actually lift the horses off their feet.
Of course, you're excited. You got all the butterflies running down your stomach and all that great energy that you feel in this kind of race. It's very special.
Before the race, I never was nervous or kind of worried about something. I never did.
It's a long day. It's focused. Go over the race in your head a few times on what you think is going to happen. And then after you got all that planned, then you throw all that out the window and you go out there and you just ride the race.
And they're off in the Kentucky Derby.
As soon as you say they're off, when you say they're off, and even up in a soundproof announcer's booth, you hear the crowd just roar.
What I try to do is, and I'm still trying to do, is try to bring to America what it really feels like to be there.
The whole state gets caught up in it.
It was very exciting. It was so crowded, and it was probably one of the most exciting sports events I've ever been to.
It's like a festival, you know. I mean, everybody wants to look great, and everybody wants to have the best hat and the best dress, and it's really nice.